You go to the gym, you start writing a book, you practice an instrument, you put in the hours, day after day, week after week, and you see nothing, no visible change, no measurable progress. It feels like you're going nowhere, so you give up. Most people assume the answer is simple. If you don't see results, your effort was wasted. Progress should be a straight line, but that's not right. And the real answer is a fundamental law of how the world works, because your work wasn't wasted. It was being stored, all of it. Imagine an ice cube on a table in a cold room. The temperature is 25 degrees. Slowly, the room begins to heat up. 26, 27, 28, the ice cube is still just an ice cube. Nothing has happened. 31 degrees, still nothing. Then 32 degrees. A 1-degree shift unlocks a massive change. The ice begins to melt. Your work is the same. Behavioral scientists call this the Plateau of Latent Potential. It's the period where your efforts are building up, but the results haven't broken through a critical threshold. And it's why most people quit right before the breakthrough. But that's only half the story. And honestly, what comes next is even stranger, because the math behind this is startling. If you get 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better. But if you get 1% worse, you decline nearly to zero. This is what Dave Brailsford, the performance director for British Cycling, called the aggregation of marginal gains. In 2003, his team had endured a century of mediocrity. No British cyclist had ever won the Tour de France, so he started making 1% improvements everywhere. They redesigned bike seats. They rubbed alcohol on the tires for better grip. They hired a surgeon to teach riders how to wash their hands to avoid colds. By themselves, the changes seemed tiny. But 5 years later, at the 2008 Olympics, they won 60% of the gold medals available. Your effort is like compound interest for self-improvement. The biggest returns are delayed. But there's another layer to this, and it might be the strangest part of all. Your breakthrough is not a single event. It's a sudden release of stored energy. It's the human equivalent of geological pressure. Two tectonic plates can grind against each other for millions of years, the tension slowly building. Then one day, they rub together in the same way they always have. But this time, the pressure is too great. An earthquake erupts. The outside world only sees the dramatic event. They don't see the century of pressure that created it. The social reformer Jacob Riis captured this perfectly. When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two, and I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. There's one more piece, and it's a law of nature. Chinese bamboo can be barely visible for the first 5 years. It spends that time building an extensive root system underground. Then, in just 6 weeks, it explodes 90 feet into the air. That growth wasn't a 6-week event. It was a five-year event. For all those years, when it looked like nothing was happening, the plant was building the foundation required for its breakthrough. Complaining about not seeing results after months of hard work is like complaining that the bamboo didn't grow for 4 years. Your work was not wasted. It was just building roots. So here's what was really happening when your work felt invisible. Your effort wasn't being wasted. It was being stored, like tension between tectonic plates. You were operating below a critical threshold, like an ice cube at 31 degrees. Every attempt that showed no crack was bringing the stone closer to splitting. You were building a foundation you couldn't see, like the roots of a bamboo plant. It wasn't one thing. It was everything all at once. Every great success story you've ever heard went through this. Every person you admire has hammered at their rock, day after day, with nothing to show for it. And the reason we give up isn't because the work is too hard. It's because we fail to see the work that is happening in the dark. The most powerful outcomes in life are delayed. Your biggest breakthrough is never the result of the last action you take. It's the release of all the invisible work that came before.